chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, we are back. Oh, feels good to be back. Episode 59. We're approaching 60 here, and that's
wow.
Crazy. I know, it's crazy, Shield. And without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Kelly, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Voldy is back after a 1-week hiatus. He is Paul Voldy. Shield, what's going on, Shield?
You know, I actually do have a legit reason why I was actually gone last week. I was actually working as opposed to the time before where we said I was working, but actually there was a baby being born. So I was actually gone for legitimate reasons this past week. So glad to be back as always.
Yes, we're happy to have you back. And for the record, I wasn't lying this time. I legitimately was not lying this time that you were supposed to be gone. And, you were gone. And that's just how it is. So sorry. I am sorry for the zoners that I lied, but at the same time, I'm not, because I wanted to surprise you guys. But he had a legitimate reason last week. We had Mikey on. It was a great show. But now, Shield is back, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight, Shield. We're talking about the Twins. They're starting their season tomorrow. And then we got the Gophers and UND after that rough weekend for both squads, so we'll chat about that.
Yep.
And Voldy's Virtues. We got Virtues, ARA, of course, Shield Shoutouts. It's going to be a great show tonight. So, Voldy, let's get it going with some tater tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
So we already got the zoners chiming in. Jack O'Keefe, you probably know him, Jack's Junkyard. Make sure you check out season 2. He said they covered for you well, which is great. I appreciate that, Jack. I tried to help out with Shield Shoutouts, but I just don't have the voice for it, is what Jack said.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw he did pretty well, so, shout out to him on that.
Yeah,
bro,
exactly.
I've been here the whole time.
As Marshawn just said, bro, I've been here the whole time, as we like to say here on MinneZona Sports Live. So, all right, let's get things going, Voldy. We're going to the realm of baseball. The Minnesota Twins are starting up tomorrow. Their first game. It's gonna be pretty interesting because there's a lot of new faces on this Twin squad, and we all know what happened last year. We ripped into the Twins pretty good. Now. We're starting a new season. There's a lot of guys coming back. You got Nelson Cruz. You got, Andrelton Simmons, who you get in free agency, which is a pretty good signing. Arise is back, ready to go. I don't know how I feel about Jay Cave, but I guess we'll go with it. Josh Donaldson, hopefully, will stay healthy this year. But Voldy, just looking at the season, this upcoming season, there's a lot of there's not as much as excitement as there would be 2 years ago when you're Bomba Squad and everything like that. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be great. So we all know kind of how this ends. It starts out really nice, but then when they get to the playoffs, it's but we'll get to that in a second. So Voldy, I'll get your prediction in a second, but your thoughts on this upcoming season for the Twins? What needs to go right for them?
I think the one thing that needs to go right is the important players need to stay healthy. Byron Buxton, needs to stay healthy. Josh Donaldson needs to stay healthy. Another thing that needs to happen is I think the middle infield really needs to produce. Andrelton Simmons is a guy, he's on the backside of his career, but he needs to produce. Defensively, if he can throw in the glove as well, that'd be fantastic. Jorge Polanco, again, another guy who needs to stay healthy too. Coming off ankle surgery, he was another guy that's going to be looked upon, especially near the top of the lineup, if not towards the back half of the lineup too, that's going to be able to provide sustainability. Because if not, Luis Arraez is ready to go. He's going to be filling in that Marwin Gonzalez role that he's filled out the last couple of years with the Twins and be that super utility guy. And that's kind of the big areas right away that I see that really need to perform early on. Another thing that's always been a problem for the Twins, who is going to be the bottom at the rotation? What kind of sustainability are we going to get from that? There's lots of guys on this team that can pitch. A few guys are going to be long guys. I mean, you've got Kenta Maeda, Jose Barrios, Michael Pineda, Jay Happ, and then Matt Shoemaker. Those two guys at the bottom weren't on the Twins last year. Mike Pineda, he got about a half of a season worth of starts. And you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how he produces coming off a full season because, he had the Tommy John surgery, then he got suspended for PEDs. So full season for Mike Pineda, it's been about at least 2-3 years minimum since he's been able to get a full season worth of starts.
Right.
Other guys that are going to be looked at the back half of the Randy Dobnak, who's probably going to get some innings out of the bullpen. Maybe he's going to be that sixth guy out of the rotation. See if the 6-man rotation comes into effect. But obviously, with all the guys that they did bring in, like Hansel Robles, Alex Colome as well, where they kind of fit in the back half of the bullpen too. Because if you get these guys going at least 6 innings, you can line up Robles, Colome, and then Taylor Rogers. Basically 3 closers. Boom, ball game over. But in an ideal world, that's probably not going to happen in that situation. So there's a lot of things early on where this team stands up and stacks up. I mean, this American League Central, it's no cakewalk like it has been in years past. I mean, the White Sox made a lot of moves. Kansas City is no cakewalk anymore.
Nope.
Detroit's still a very young team, but they got players coming up. I don't know with Cleveland. Cleveland is really a coin flip. So, I mean, you could get the best, you get the worst out of them. But, this team doesn't even have a mascot. So, what else can you expect out of Cleveland right now? But overall, I think, this is going to be this could be one of the typical AL Central years where it comes down the last weekend of the season to see who comes out with the division.
Exactly. And you look at what they have done so far, and in the offseason, it's kind of the same thing. We'll get some guy here. He's had success in the past. He struggled a little bit last year. Again, coronavirus, things like that from last year. But still, this has continued with the Twins. They go out and they pick up somebody who I think they might be good. We'll see what happens. And they've had more success with getting guys in free agency, via trade, things like that. Now, the one thing the Twins, and I won't get too much into it because people know how I feel about the Pohlads and how they, handle their business. But the one thing that could come back to bite them, and I think it has to be addressed, is number one, the starting pitching, because one thing that really takes me to a place where I don't want to go is if Pineda's been known to have some bad games. Big Mike's been known to have some bad games. Now, can he come back and not have any injuries, no more suspensions, any of that BS, okay? He needs to make sure that he's not getting into trouble doing stupid stuff, okay? Now, Jay Happ, new, like you said, Matt Shoemaker, and we got to see at least some contributions from them, too. We can't just think, okay, they're going to, I want them to be serviceable, and more than serviceable in that respect, too. So, Kenta Maeda is technically your ace right now, which is, can it be a good thing? Can it be a bad thing? People
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't, but if he doesn't pitch well, then we're in trouble. And I
Obviously.
say, yeah, obviously we are in trouble. But we have to remember, too, is that Barrios is still within the rotation, and he had a great playoff start against the Astros. But what do the Twins do? They look at the sabermetrics, they look at the analytics, and they decide, we're going to take you out even though you're doing really well. It's a bonehead decision by the Twins. And Rocco Baldelli better have learned from that decision, okay? Because that was a terrible decision by him. And hopefully...
He pulled a Kevin Cash before that was even a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And no one wants to talk about that besides us, apparently.
Nope.
So there's that to factor in as well. So it's main, and again, I always say it's the pitching because it always is, and the bullpen with that as well. The bullpen actually, I like what I'm seeing. Thielbar, I'm iffy on. I don't feel super comfortable, but like you said, Calumet, Robles, I mean, that's another big thing that we have to consider, too, is, like, are these guys going to deliver? And we need these guys to deliver. Like you said, yeah. We'll see. Batting-wise, I'm not too concerned, even though in the playoffs they really sucked. You know, I mean, it wasn't the Bomba squad. It was nothing. And this team needs to understand, if you want to get to this next level, you have to do everything right. You have to... you have to make sure that you're making contact at least. I mean, for God's sakes, Kirilloff was probably the best batter within that series the whole time, against the Astros. And guess what? He's not even on the roster, for goodness sake. Yeah. Which kind of peeves me a little bit, but I don't know. It's the Twins' way of doing things. We're just going to have to go along for the ride. But here's what has to go right. They have to stay healthy. Buxton, for sure. Buxton, Voldy, you hit the nail right on the head. Buxton needs to be healthy. He is a very valuable member of this team, and he's a key piece. Donaldson, exactly. You pay him all this money, and like you said before, Voldy, last year, he didn't even do anything.
He wasn't even on the roster of the playoffs.
Exactly.
You give him all the money, you don't even pay him.
That's what we're saying here on MinneZona Sports Live, just as a flashback to the Zoners. So play, Josh Donaldson. We need you. So,
yeah.
Anyway, okay, now I got to ask you, and the Zoners, please chime in here too. I know we got a couple that have chimed in already. Garver needs to have a bounce back here offensively.
Absolutely.
Hit the nail right on the head there, Mets. I 100% agree. Kerf Doctor saying, pitching! Exactly. I'll keep saying it. It's much like O-line in this sense.
Yeah.
It's much.
Let's talk about the fact, too, if Garver and Buxton don't start producing or stay healthy, well, guess what? We got two catchers already on the roster, Astadio and Ryan Jeffers. And we got at minimum three outfielders at AAA right now that could fill Byron Buxton's spot like that. And, I think every bench player could play the outfield for the for the Twins right now. Astudillo's played the outfield. Ariz has played, and they got Kyle Garlick out there who outplayed everybody else that was potentially going to be the guy to play left field for the Twins this year.
I don't know, man. It's the way they run things is just weird. It's weird. Peter Farley says 162-0. Let's go. And that's because you work for the Twins. I think that's why you're saying that. So I don't know if the penny pinching poll ads told you to say it. No, I'm just kidding, Pete. But anyway, that'd be great. But Voldy, let me ask you, what's your what do you think the Twins will end up with? Are we thinking 80? We thinking 90? Or are we maybe even lower than that? What do you think? Go ahead.
I would say if I had to put an exact number on it of how many wins they're going to get this year, I would say I'm going to go 87. 87 wins just jumps right out to me this year. I don't know how many losses that is mathematically. It's after 5 o'clock. Just be happy I have pants on a Wednesday night. 87 wins is where I think the Twins end up at this year.
This is tough, and this is how it's going to go down. I'm going to go 90. I'm going to go 90.
All right.
I think it's a respectable number for the Minnesota Twins.
Very respectable.
Now, the reason why I say that is because they're going to it's going to start off really well for the Twins. They're going to, they'll have some good things happening with them, but they're going to get to the playoffs. I don't know who they'll face, and more than likely it's going to be the Yankees, because this is how these things turn out. They end up playing the freaking
comes out of the West,
Yankees.
So probably the Astros again.
Yeah, if we play the Astros and they lose to the Astros
again,
This is coming back. I'm putting the hat back in the trash bin right here. I'm putting it back in the trash bin again. But I feel like when they get to the playoffs, and if they lose another playoff game in the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to lose it. And I will go after, the poll ads, I will send a video message. And I won't, and again, there might be some profanity and everything like that, but the poll ads, this is on you. Your lack of trying to spend money to help this team win is the reason why we're in the position that we're in. Okay? So, get out the checkbook. I have my checkbook right here, actually. I could write out some for you. If you want some money, poll ads, I'll write some out for you. Okay? Right here.
I got a debit card. I got a driver's license. You think the poll ads will take a gobbler card? I don't know.
You'll have to ask them. It depends on how much you're selling. You have to sell it for like a cent if they're ever going to take it. So if they can get past the first round, I'll be happy. That's kind of how I'm going to leave it at. But yeah, I'm going to say 90 wins. It's going to be a good season, I think. But if they lose in the first round, there's going to be hell to pay, as the Kerf Doctor likes to say. So there will be hell to pay. But anyway, Voldy, let's move on to our next. Well, actually, you know what? We got the zoners. Mama Callahan / Papa Callahan, 87 wins sounds about right. So they agree with you, Voldy, on the 87.
There we go.
So there's that. And then Jack says, shoot, I'd be happy if my Colorado Rockies make the playoffs at all.
If the Rockies were in any other division besides NL West, I think they'd make the playoffs very easily this year. Something about the Rockies this year is, we'll see. We'll see about it. But, they got to go against San Fran. They got to go against the Dodgers, Arizona, San Diego. So basically, it's going to be a battle between, I feel like, Arizona and Colorado at the bottom of the division. That's a 3-team race right there, I think.
Well, we have Jack that will accept payment in the form of a gobbler card.
Boom.
Done deal. Already a done deal. So there we go. All right, moving on to our next one. We're going to talk a little college hockey. It was kind of a rough weekend for the Fighting Hawks and the Golden Gophers.
Yeah.
Voldy, would you like to start on your thoughts on the 5 overtimes for the UND? And here's the North Dakota Sioux, I should say. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say Fighting Hawks, the Sioux. But your thoughts on that 5 OT? It was a great game. Lose to UMD.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What do you think, Voldy? Go ahead.
North Dakota can't beat Duluth to save their gall darn lives. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Duluth always comes in, or whenever North Dakota plays Duluth, it always ends up being one of these just squeak them out kind of games. I don't get it. And 5 overtimes, so be it. Multiple chances that either team could have won in the first 2 overtimes, but video review is a real pain in the rear, but it ends up being that way. And we all knew by the time we hit the 3rd overtime that it's going to be a garbage goal to finish it off. Lo and behold, it took 5 overtimes on a shot that would have been a very easy save in regulation, and lo and behold, it ends up squeaking by, and Duluth has got a chance for technically a 3-peat, but it could very easily be a 4-peat at this chance. And if you're going to go down, you might as well go down to a team that's defending the national title once again.
Sure.
I hate Duluth so much that it pains me to say good luck in the Frozen Four once again. North Dakota, they got robbed last year. They're the best team in the whole country. They won the conference, they won the regular season. They didn't win the conference title though, but they were the number 1 overall, overall seed. COVID happens. Best team that they had since they won in 2016, and it all gets wiped away. And this year they had all the right pieces coming back. All the guys that were going to be seniors going into this year, they came back. had a great year, had won the regular season, won the conference tournament as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, just didn't go their way. And, well, lo and behold, now we got to talk about Duluth playing for another national championship. Quite possibly. Who knows? I don't know. 3 out of 4 teams from Minnesota playing in Frozen Four. I feel bad for UMass, but, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, exactly. We will see what happens. And I did watch the last half of that game. I was up pretty late, actually, because it was a great game, by the way. Voldy, you and I were talking about this before the show, is the game-winning goal that the Bulldogs had was just a softie. You know, and you said too, it always seems to happen like this. You know, it's a softie that gets through for some reason. And that gets frustrating as a fan. You're like, no, are you kidding me? How do we lose on that type of thing? But I look at it from a UND standpoint, and they're still going to be in it year after year after year because they know who they get. They know they have a lot of talent. So I'm not too worried about what'll happen. But your UMD hate, I mean, it's for some reason UMD just gets a lot of great players on that team now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, up in Duluth.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get to the Gophers here for a second. I know you're probably feeling happy about this, that the Gophers getting mopped. They got destroyed, actually. They lost 4-0 against Minnesota State Mankato. And don't say Mankato State, or else they will attack you like they have done to many people, including myself. But you give the Mavericks a round of applause. They played really well. The Gophers did not play well, and Mets is rubbing it in our face right now. I told you last week Minnesota State University would take care of business against the Gophers. Yes, we know. So
Mets, you still went to Southwest. Quit cheering on your pride.
And that's exactly what I am saying. Is the guy literally went to Southwest Minnesota State University, but then he cheered for the Mavericks. I mean, how does that work?
It's whatever. He's from Mankato. We'll give him a slide.
Get it. Yeah, I give him some credit on that. So, and then Peter says Adam Thielen State. I mean, technically, that's what you could call it now. I mean,
this is true.
We do thank Minnesota State for just having a great athlete in Adam Thielen. And also, I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's all pro. He's fantastic. Now, oh, by the way, did you know he went undrafted? Did you know that?
What?
I had no clue. But anyway.
Never heard of that.
Back to the Gophers. Weird. Yeah, weird. Interesting. But back to the Gophers here for a second. They lose 4-0. They start off slow. And pretty much that's what did them in. And, you know, Minnesota State came after him. And it's going to be a tough offseason. But Motzko, I feel like, has started to change the culture a little bit and whatnot. So there's a lot of good things that can come out of this for the Gophers. I know for Voldy, for your sake, you're loving this because the Gophers lose. You don't have to worry about the Golden Gophers winning the NCAA championship, the national championship in hockey. But we'll see what happens. There's a lot of bright spots to be had, but that 5-0 was a lot of fun to watch, Voldy, and we'll be keeping track.
I didn't even get to watch all of it.
I know.
I went to bed after the second overtime because I knew I was going to be up in less than 2 hours to help feed the little one. And next time I get up, I'm like, oh, I wonder if the what ended up being the score. And I roll over, and it's like they went to 5 overtimes. Are you kidding me? And I say it clear as day at 3:00 in the morning to Sarah as she's holding case or whatever, getting ready to feed him. They went to 5 overtimes, like. We're talking at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Nice game, yeah.
And it was like, are you kidding me?
Right.
And then you lose?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But Voldy, let me ask you this though. Since there are three Minnesota teams left, okay? You got Minnesota State. You have St. Cloud State. St. Cloud, I mean, that's...
Dark horse.
Dark horse. You better watch out for them. And then, like you mentioned, UMass and whatnot. But, Voldy, who do you got winning the Frozen Four? Who do you have in the championship game? Tell me.
Well, boy,
Put you on the spot.
yeah, it's hard to pick against Duluth.
Yeah.
Overall, they are one of the more complete teams in the entire, in the Frozen Four right now. But contrary to, to basically anything Minnesota sports related, UMass will probably end up winning the national championship because that's just how Minnesota sports is. St. Cloud State, you can't sleep on them. They got the benefit of the good region as well. Minnesota State got hot at the right time, and well, it's certainly paying dividends. But, it's hard to pick against Duluth. I would like to see Minnesota State Mankato win it. Honestly, I would think that'd be really cool. First time in program history that they've made the Frozen Four. They win the whole thing. I honestly wouldn't be mad about it.
No.
I'd be fine with it. Duluth, I'd be mad. St. Cloud State, kind of a coin toss there a little bit. A lot of people I know, St. Cloud adjacent. So probably be hearing about quite a little bit for the next little while in that. But you know what? I think this is Duluth's to take. Three national titles in 4 years. Why not?
Why the heck not, as Curve Doctor likes to say. I'm going to probably go UMD since you're the national champion, and, I feel like they're the most complete team. I'd be fine with any Minnesota team winning it. But obviously, we all know you don't want UMD, so there's that. Father versus son, battle of the Sandalines. Oh boy, MSU versus UMD, Matt says. So
if I have to see anything more about the Sandalines situation and those guys, I'm gonna lose it. I see it enough on Twitter already. Just I'm over it. Yeah. I'm over it.
Stop Get it done. Matt. Stop it. No.
Yes.
But anyway, let's get to Voldy's virtues. We're sticking in Minnesota here, I believe, Voldy. And we haven't done Voldy's virtues in a while, so I'm really looking forward to going back to the Temple of Wisdom. Let's see what you got, because it's very interesting. It involves two former Minnesotan, they're still Minnesotans, but, they're playing off in UConn, and one's playing in Gonzaga. So let's get to some Voldy's virtues.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's virtues.
All right, Voldy, it is your time. It is time for Voldy's virtues, so please enlighten us.
Well, if anybody's been following me on social media since basically the start of the NCAA tournament, you probably notice whenever people talk about two individuals that hail from the great state of Minnesota, that people often forget that these two are just middle of nowhere America kids. UConn's Paige Beckers, a.k.a. Paige Buckets, and Jalen Suggs of Gonzaga. Just two kids, middle of nowhere, USA. Oh, yeah, they come from the Twin Cities, and, well, we apparently know that's a big deal around here. But people outside the great state of Minnesota don't know how big of a deal that is as well. Both these players in their freshman seasons are carrying their teams throughout the NCAA tournament as well. Let's talk about one particular player and start. Paige Buckets, a.k.a. Paige Beckers. That's her real name, but I'm just going to call her Paige Buckets. It's much easier to say it this way. UConn, the cream of the crop in women's basketball. Yes, they are always in contention year after year, but she's there. She's that girl. She's leading the way for UConn right now. Yes, there are a couple players as of late that have emerged, but all season it's been Paige Beckers. 13 straight Final Four, and made it there. Yes, on a controversial call. We won't talk about it. Yes, it was a foul, but they didn't call it. Yep. 28 points in that game for Paige Beckers. Stacking up the awards in her true freshman season. She was playing high school basketball this past year. Just making girls look ridiculous. AP All-American first team. Big East Freshman Player of the Year, Tournament Most Outstanding Player, Big East first team, and All-Freshman team. And today was named the AP Women's Player of the Year as a freshman. She's still green behind the ears. School record holder for assists in a game, and freshman record holder for most assists in a game as well. stacking up with some of the elites that have played at the, UConn, University of Connecticut, played for Gino Auriemma, do include some of the greats that we talk about still to this day. Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Brianna Stewart. And those are just the three that I could think of. Rebecca Lobo is, one of those players that's been one of the greats that has high praise for Paige Beckers. Diana Taurasi saw some of her, this has been, widely publicized over the past week, that she thinks that she's one of the best players in the world and in college basketball right now. As a freshman from middle of nowhere America. People forget about that. This is Minnesota. We're not a basketball state, apparently. That's what everybody else keeps saying. Now let's flip the script here a little bit.
Sure.
Another player, I had no idea who this person was until I came back to the state a year and a half ago. Jalen Suggs. Who? Number 1 overall seed in the NCAA men's basketball tournament for Gonzaga. Once a fledgling Cinderella story team. Let's make some noise in the tournament and ruffle a few feathers. Nope. 30-0 this season. Coming through and a dismantling of USC last night, by the way. And also stacking up the awards in a freshman season. He could have very easily went on to play college football. Jalen Suggs. Everybody else thought maybe that would have been the case. Nope. Coming out of Minnehaha Academy, you don't play, college ball and move on that way. There's other things out there for you. AP second team All-American. West Coast Conference Newcomer of the Year and all freshman team. Tournament outstanding, most outstanding player as well. And let's talk about it. I've been saying this, and people have been missing out the fact that they haven't been agreeing with me on this. Outside of the state of Minnesota, nobody knows what the heck is going on, where these kids come from. You don't come from Florida, you don't come from California, you don't come from Texas. Basically, you don't exist.
Right.
That's how I look at it. And they come from a simple place in the state of Minnesota. Yes, for those who live here in Minnesota, we all know that, Paige Beckers went to Hopkins, and, Jalen Suggs went to Minnehaha Academy as well.
Correct.
Actually played my alma mater earlier today in Byron High School. More about that later here in the Class 2A state basketball tournament for boys basketball. But Beckers and Suggs, players of the year in basketball last year. Again, I had no idea who the heck these people were at the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
But apparently everybody else knew. To the fact that, wait, she's going to UConn? He's going to Gonzaga? How? Who are you? Who are you? Things of that sort.
Yeah.
Jalen Suggs also won Mr. Basketball and Mr. Football this past year. Who does that?
Not many. Not many.
Literally the first time it's ever happened where that has happened. Yes, it did come out of powerhouse conferences, and so much so that Hopkins is actually trying to recruit a girl from up around the, my area up around here.
Yeah.
Different story for a different time. She's only a 7th grader. She's already tearing up records as well.
Jeez.
But we know that those players coming out of those programs, they're supposed to be really good, get recruited. But the national media doesn't know that. They just think, but, as Governor Walz has said, just a bunch of cows and rocks, basically. But it's not. Look, all I'm trying to say here at the end of it, let's not forget how good these two players are going to be. Because of the fact that they are going to be establishing themselves in the world, and putting Minnesota on their back at the same time. Yes, the media black hole that is Minnesota doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Anything in the Midwest, you think Chicago, and that's about it. Maybe St. Louis. That's about it. You don't think Minnesota.
No.
For the national circuit, you don't think that. So you just think, oh, yeah, they must be from somewhere, it's highly populated or whatever in the Midwest. Nope. Doesn't exist. Unless something horrible happens in Minnesota, if that's something that we've seen the last year plus here in our neck of the woods, nothing sports-related ever exists. Only the bad stuff.
Yeah.
The roof collapse, goals, the big chokes in the postseasons. That's all well documented. So in short, I'm just saying that these two players, whether they decide to stick around for the next year or so, I don't know, Jalen Suggs could be a lottery pick this year if they close it out here in the national tournament. I don't know. I don't know where his career is taking him. It's men's basketball. He could be one and done next week for all I care. Paige Beckers, maybe another year or so. I don't know. I don't know how the draft side of things works for the women's side of things. But both these players going to be highly touted the next couple of years, whether they go pro or stick it out in college. But I'm just saying, let's not forget where they came from. As the lower third does say, put some respect on the state. That is the state of Minnesota. That's Voldy's Virtues this week.
Oh, we went to the Temple of Wisdom, and I came out knowing even more. Now, a lot of this comes down to the coach. I mean, recruiting and whatnot in the state of Minnesota is trying to keep these guys within the state is tough. It's very tough, for one, too. The thing is, when you think of Minnesota, you don't think, basketball powerhouse, But yeah, it's a Big Ten, competitive, sure. But have they made noise? Not really.
Bad noise.
Bad noise, yeah. So, Suggs, for one, isn't going to go to Minnesota and not... Honestly, if Suggs came to... it'd be great. Would they go on a run? Maybe. I don't know. But he went to Gonzaga, okay? And the Zags are about to possibly win the national championship here soon. Paige Beckers, same deal. UConn, we get the whole fall thing, whatever. They're moving on, so we can't do anything to change it. But they're not going to come to the University of Minnesota because there are better opportunities. She's at UConn right now. Think about that. They've been a juggernaut for X amount of years, right? It's been a long, long time. Gonzaga has been known to win a lot as well. So, of course, you're going to go to those schools. You're not going to come to Minnesota and, maybe win a Big Ten tournament and get kicked out of the first round. No. They're going to go to, they're going to go to those types of places, UConn and everything like that. But, like you said, Voldy, they're one of us, whether they like it or not. They are one of us. I'm sure they definitely do take pride in being from Minnesota and whatnot. And another thing, too, is that both of them, they're good friends. They're really good friends, by the way, too, which is even cooler. Both of them are about to... Shoot, think about this. They could both win a national championship. Both of them. So it just proves that... We talked about this last show with Mikey, but this just proves that Ben Johnson has to find a way to get those types of players to come to Minnesota and keep them in state. That's going to be the biggest challenge. And Patino failed to do that, unfortunately. And I do like Patino. But you got to keep the people in state. And you got to put respect on the state, by the way, like you said. So I 100% agree with what you said, Voldy. And the zoners can chime in as well, what you guys think about this as well. It's one of those things where, you want them to come, you want them to be homegrown, play for the University of Minnesota, and kick butt. But Minnesota doesn't do that
Nope,
for the college. Don't. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's true. So, but anyway, we wish them all the luck. Honestly, I really hope that, I did pick Gonzaga to win, so I hope Suggs wins, Beckers wins with UConn as well.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be dope, as we like to say. Oh, look who it is. Well. One half of Double Trouble. She's waving hi, and we say hi to you, Miss Caitlin Toner. Hopefully you're enjoying your MinneZona shirt, as well as stickers. I believe you got some stickers as well. There you go. Congrats on your baby, Paul, as Caitlin's saying right now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
He'll make his debut soon enough.
He will. He will. Peter says, Carl Pohlad went to Gonzaga. That's good, Papa. Well, no. Carl Pohlad is the father of the... He did a great job with it. The son, not so much. But, yeah, I didn't know that. That's a good fun. I didn't know that. That's cool. And then Matt says, Chet Holmgren is the top recruit in 2021 from Minnehaha. And he's a good player. Ben Johnson, get on the phone, man. Time to get in town state here. Let's get it going. So, But anyway, Voldy, it's time to get to ARA. There's a lot of absurd or proofs we need to get to, which involves the Twins, the Vikings, NFL, etc., etc., etc. So let's get it going with some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. I missed doing this last week, so Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, we start off with just ahead of the season opening day tomorrow for the Minnesota Twins. They'll be on the road against Milwaukee. Well, they decided to shell out some big bucks, potentially, for a guy who's not even going to be in the starting rotation to start off the season. Pitcher Randy Dobnak and the Twins did agree on a 5-year, $9.25 million contract extension with 3 club options. Now, initially, just at a glance, 5 years, $9.25 million, not that much. But the deal can max out up to $29.75 million with options and can grow with even more escalators, according to sources as well. Some performance incentives as well. Absurd or approved, the Twins shell out the dough for Randy Dobnak.
I want to bang my head against the wall right now, to be honest with you. I'm saying it's absurd. And here's the thing. It's nothing against Randy Dobnak, okay? It's nothing against Uber driver Randy Dobnak. But why are we giving him all this money? 5-year, $9.25 million contract. I mean, with 3 club options, okay. But the deal can max out to $29.75 million. Okay? So why are we giving, and again, I understand Dobnak has had some good, he's had some good pitching moments, but also I've seen some bad things. And the thing is from what I have seen, observed from Dobnak, I don't like what I see. And it's not a knock. I'm just calling it like I see it, okay? I can't believe that the poll ads go out, they just randomly give random players, and I'm not saying Dobnak's a random player, but you're paying this guy all this money when you could have went out and used that money for something else. Another ace. Because you need pitching, right? So, if they really, Dobnak's only 26, okay? So there's growth to be had with it. I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but I just don't believe in his skills, in his skill set. I really don't, and I think if he's able, I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I hope they prove me wrong on this, but if they don't, I'm coming back with everything I got. If he does not play up to this contract, I'm pointing at the Twins and saying, you goofed. I was right. And then you can prove it back. You can throw it back in my face if I'm wrong with it. So I think it's absurd. That's just my opinion. Voldy, what do you think?
The first thing I thought of when I saw this contract and kind of the numbers with the potential of almost up to $30 million, and I'm just like, wow, Dobnak can finally get himself updated from just Uber and Lyft to like Uber XL. He can shell out the big bucks for a bigger ride to pick up people for money as well. But 5 years, $9.25, obviously, that's a very safe move for a guy that, he's done some things the last year or so, but,
Sure.
Obviously we're going into a full season. Let's see what he can actually do. And it's also a very Polad signing as well. Okay, we're gonna potentially give you $30 million. But you got to do some things first we're going to give you the $9.25, but, over those 5 years, maybe we'll give you some more. Maybe we won't. We'll see. It's just all kind of laying in the weeds a little bit. A guy who was playing independent ball back, 4 years ago, and now he's playing in the major leagues after, being an Uber driver a year and a half ago and potentially
it's a great story.
Now gonna potentially make $30 million. That's if they pick up the 3 options as well. They could very easily go through the 5 years and say, all right, see ya, because that's what the Twins do in that sense. And, he's still at a young enough age where he still is in the early stages of what could be his prime in his career as well. If there is even, once you hit 30, obviously that's where you're kind of at. You go from your late 20s into, 30, 31. That's kind of where you're at in your prime, if you will, if not on the backside of your career too. So I think this contract overall, it's got my stamp of approval. It's a very Pohlad signing.
It is a very Pohlad signing. That's why I think it's absurd. But I can respect what you think, though, Voldy, 100%. $29 million for 8 years for Dobnak, or $40 million for 1 year of Bauer. Now, that's an interesting take, and I don't disagree with that. But if you wanted to sign a guy, if you wanted to be like, we need to win now type of thing, then I would probably lean towards the Bauer signing. But
I'm taking Bauer all day.
You are?
The man is making baseball fun again, and he's making it great. He's out there telling guys what he's going to throw. He's throwing with one eye open. He's out there basically saying, screw you, Major League Baseball, and just going with it. And he's not even getting fined. He's basically telling the whole league, you suck, I'm awesome, deal with it. And he's still making millions and millions of dollars. They're just allowing this to happen. It's fantastic. The Twins got to take a page out of Trevor Bauer's book. They got to get mean. They got to get nasty. They got to do what Trevor Bauer does and go after it. I would take the 1 year, $40 million out of Trevor Bauer than the 8 years for, Randy Dobnak. That's just me, though.
I'm not disagreeing with you, because it's the Pohlad way of doing it. And this smells all Pohlad here, because it's like, well, if it's a team-friendly deal, which is fine. I get it. I get it. Team-friendly deal. I hope he proves me wrong, but we'll see what happens. If I'm wrong, call me out on it. So that's all I got to say about that. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, the Minnesota Vikings this past week decided to beef up the defensive backfield. Yep. If there's anything that the Vikings, struggled with, it's the defensive backfield from this past season. Bringing in a little bit more experience in one familiar name and one name that could certainly become a familiar name with the purple. Mackenzie Alexander and Xavier Woods. We all know Mackenzie Alexander spent some time with the Vikings after spending last season in Cincinnati. Xavier Woods out of Dallas. Pretty decent signing as well to help beef up the backfield. Serter approved the Vikings signing Mackenzie Alexander and Xavier Woods.
Mackenzie Alexander, I think, has a kind of a cool name, Mac Attack strap. It's awesome. I really like that name. But the Mac Attack, obviously, that's for Jeremy Macklin, as we like to say here. Voldy.
Yes, sir.
But I will say it's got my stamp of approval. Because the reason why I say this is because Mackenzie Alexander, before he left in free agency, I don't think it was last year when he went to the Bengals, he had a really great year in the slot. And now that you have Patrick Peterson and you have a defensive line that's actually starting to shore up now, and Michael Pierce is coming back, Dalvin Tomlinson's going to be a great addition as well. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be great. If we're thinking about Alexander, I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. And he's still a young guy. He's only like 27, 28. This is a great sign. It's only a 1 year deal, but the Vikings have managed to find a way to get some veteran presence in that locker room. And Zim openly admitted it today to Courtney Cronin. And with Mac coming back, he is going to help out the slot, help out the younger guys, Gladney, Dantzler, and Patrick Peterson too. This is a good defensive backfield now. Okay, this is what we want to see in our corners. And then with Xavier Woods, I've heard chatter on the Twitter sphere that he had a rough year last year for the Cowboys, but then again, it's the Cowboys, and they sucked last year in general, even though the Vikings did lose to them. But I think Xavier Woods is going to play pretty well alongside Dirty Harry, Harrison Smith. And it's something to where he can learn from Harrison Smith. And I think he will after, they didn't lose out. I shouldn't say they didn't lose out. They chose not to re-sign Anthony Harris. And when you got to fill that need. And what they have done is, honestly, they've opened the door for them to draft, the Kerf doctor likes to say, line. And there's still time. There's still a lot of guys in free agency you can go out and get. Yes, we re-signed Dakota Dozier. Hopefully he's not as a starter, as I said before the show with Voldy. But for just these two signings, it makes sense. It adds depth too. And then you still have the draft coming up. So I think this is going to benefit well for the Vikings, and this was much needed. They needed some help on defense, and Zim knew it. Everyone else knew it. So stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Obviously we were talking about with the last story about a couple of team-friendly deals, and this is as team-friendly as it gets. Yeah. 1-year contracts. Mackenzie Alexander gets the minimum for the veteran salary, while you get Xavier Woods $2.25 million. Not bad. That's not bad, especially for guys that have tremendous upside.
Sure.
With some seasoning under the legs. We already know what Mackenzie Alexander has done, coming in as the nickel corner in his time with the Vikings. Now coming as a corner slot guy, I think that'll be a good spot for him. And obviously, with the help on the backside of things, you get Patrick Peterson, you get obviously Harrison Smith back in as well. Let's not forget about the rookies that put up some some help in the later half of the year for the Vikings that really did progress as the season went along.
Yeah.
It was a slow burn, but eventually things started to turn around at the back half of the year. You get Xavier Woods going to play right against Harrison Smith. I don't see obviously if this was the combination 5-6 years ago, this would probably be the best safety core in the NFL. Obviously we know Harrison Smith not as strong as he once was. Obviously, he's still out there making plays, but he's not the Harrison Smith of 5-6 years ago. But obviously, he's still out there making plays. The creative consultant, Mrs. Sarah Ann Toosvold, didn't like my comments about Harrison Smith as she flips me the bird on her way to feed our child.
Wow!
How dare she?
Oh my
First
goodness.
off,
this is a PG show with a sprinkle of 13.
This is a family establishment. Yes, she's laughing right now. But getting back to my comments, but Harrison Smith and Xavier Woods, that's going to be a great combination to force some stability on the backside of the defense for the defensive backfield, especially when you get Jeff Gladney up there and, the young defensive backs that are coming back for the Vikings too, with Alexander in the mix. You also get Patrick Peterson, who is the pros pro when it comes to, the corner position. It's going to be a much needed upgrade, especially after last season where we had nobody that was worth contending, at least for the starting spot. I think these are both, big stamps of approval for me.
Agreed. And it's only going to benefit them and benefit the younger guys. Because Dantzler, we saw a lot of promise, okay? And, Papa Callahan mentioned this last week, too, is that Harry needs to have a better year. And because I was watching the game with the Aints game last year with him, and he's like, man, he really has, he's had a couple interceptions, yeah, but he's just kind of, is it because he doesn't have help or what or this? But I think he'll bounce back, and I really do believe that. Well, right as I'm saying that, I see this comment from none other than Jimbo. Harry will have a huge bounce back year since he doesn't have to do everything this year.
Yep.
Then there's your answer. There's your answer. Why he wasn't the way he was, but. Here we go. Let's see what happens. There's still a lot of time here for them to sign guys. They still have a good chunk of cap space they can work with. So
let's not forget about the draft, too.
And the draft. Yeah, exactly. It's looking good. It's looking good for the Vikings. So we're very happy with what they've got. We're going to stick with the NFL. So next one, Voldy.
Yeah, well, it was voted upon yesterday at the virtual league meetings in the NFL. Well, looks like the NFL is going to a 17-game schedule starting this season. Lo and behold, as that happened, teams just so happen to have an extra opponent to play season as well. Well, that didn't exactly draw a lot of favoritism from some of the standout players in the NFL. Let's take a look. Darius Slay, Cameron Jordan, George Atala, and we also know Alvin Kamara's got an opinion on everything, basically saying, yeah, not really a fan of the 17-game schedule. From our perspective, there's a lot of things that we could say about a 17-game schedule. Absurd or approve the NFL moving with a 17-game schedule going into this season?
Well, from what I'm reading from Adrian Amos, and he says we really let this happen. That's what I'm saying, replied Darius Slay. Cameron Jordan said we knew it. We all knew it was coming. He knew it. She knew it. They knew it. You knew it. Yada, yada, yada. Mr. All Bark and No Bite. It's Torrey Smith saying stuff. 17 games in the NFL is great for money, but they're looking to just practices and what a regular offseason looks like. Yep. Dudes were falling apart playing 16 as a whole. This is great, but adjustments have to be made. And I couldn't agree more with Torrey Smith, and I understand why you want to make money, right? And that's what they want with the NFL. Now, Kamara says, S-word, dumb as hell. Clown. Anyway, yes, he scored 6 touchdowns, but when you're going against a crappy defensive line, shoot, anybody could. But I'll say this. I really can't go either way because I feel like if they don't do this the right way, it's going to fall apart, and it's going to the NFL is going to fall flat on their face. Now, if they handle this the right way, and let's remember, there's no 4th preseason game. There's only 3, which is okay. I can live with that. I really wish it was 2. I think we even discussed this not too long ago, Voldy, saying just a 2 preseason games. But when you're adding more games, it takes a toll on the players. It really does. I mean 16 in general does too. I mean, this is something. Yes, you have a bye week, so I don't even think they mention if there's an extra bye week or anything like that.
No, that's the thing. You still get 1 bye week, and then that literally you're playing an extra game. So
right,
yeah.
Well, if they think it's gonna, I think it's gonna work out fine. It's gonna take some adjustment, but let's not keep changing things because when we start doing that, it ruins a lot of things. But an extra game for us fans is kind of fine. I mean, the Vikings are playing the Chargers. It's kind of random because we don't even play the AFC West this year, so it's kind of head scratching. But I guess it's got my stamp of approval for now, and we'll see what happens. But before I get to you here, Voldy, unfortunately for Jason Garrett, if he becomes head coach again, he can't go 8-8.
Dang it! So close. But anyway,
Voldy, what do you think?
If the NFL was really smart about this, first off, I think 17 weeks, it's completely dumb. If you were really thinking about, for the player's perspective, that 17th week would be an extra bye week or something. You'd have the 16-game schedule, but it'd be 15 games actually, and then you'd have the bye week. But maybe if they go to an 18-game schedule, then you'd have that second bye week. Now, if the NFL was really smart, wanting to think about money for this perspective, I've got a proposal. 14-game schedule, extra 2 weeks of playoff football games. Think about that. Top 2 teams from each division, gets a playoff spot. Top 2 teams gets a first-round bye. Everybody else is playing. So, math, pi r squared, carry the 7. I don't know how that works out. But, no, actually, that wouldn't work at all. Never mind. I would just say, look, you get, the top 2 teams from each division and, maybe, 2 wild card spots. So, basically, you end up with 10 teams from each conference in it, and then 4 teams are left out. Well, you suck. That happens. So be it. 14-game schedule, extra 2 weeks of playoffs. Playoff money is so much more important than regular season money. I'm just saying, the NFL was smart. They'd take away less regular season games and add more playoff games, even though I'm a huge fan of no more playoff games. It takes away the presence of making the playoffs. If everybody's making the playoffs, then why even bother as well? Because, obviously the fact in this day and age, everybody gets a trophy. I think the 17-game schedule is completely absurd.
And that's fine. I mean, I think it could end up being like that. And they might have to revert back to what they originally did, which there was nothing wrong with it. I feel like there was nothing wrong, besides the preseason games, I might add.
Exactly.
But I don't know, man. It's just another cash grab thing. It's just how it is with the NFL. So, but anyway, we're going to move on to the NFL draft here. Voldy, next one, please.
Well, yeah, this is another interesting one that kind of plays a little bit into Minnesota as well.
Yes.
Quarterback Justin Fields out of the Ohio State University had his pro day with the Ohio State Buckeyes on Tuesday. And, well, he did pretty well. 6'3", 228-pound first-round potential selection. And, well, lo and behold, it ran a 4.440 at the pro day for the for the teams that were in attendance. 31 of the 32 teams. The only team that was not there was the Los Angeles Rams. And the fun thing at the end of it all, when Justin Fields decided to finish off his 40, who's standing at the other end of the field? Good old Slick Rick himself. Rick Spielman is standing there, possibly watching a draft pick run right before his eyes, potentially absurd or approved. Now, looking at the whole quarterback class, Justin Fields, first quarterback taken off the board, absurd or approved?
The Jacksonville's going to take him?
No, I'm just saying, would he? If that's the
After
route that
Lawrence,
is he going to be the first quarterback taken off the board? And we're all potentially thinking that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy.
That's, here's the thing. You can, with pro days, you have to be very careful on how you approach it. Because, everyone says, oh, he had a great pro day. Oh, he's just great. He's great. It's very rare you hear he didn't have a great pro day. He wasn't that good. I mean, it's one of those things where Fields. I like Fields. I really do. And like you said, Voldy, Slick Rick was right there. I mean, it gets you wondering a little bit. Slick Rick standing right, but that could be nothing. If 31 out of the 32 NFL teams were there, it could be for other players from Ohio State too. But he ran a 4.4, I should say, and I feel like he can be a really good player in the NFL, and I firmly believe that. But at the same time, you have to be cautious. You have to be very cautious because not all of these players turn out to be what they're supposed to. Now, will Fields surprise people? Like Urban Meyer just pulls a 360 and says, "No, we're taking Fields." Then where does that leave Lawrence? So it would be interesting. It would be a shock. I mean, but I think if you're Jacksonville and you're looking at this logically, Trevor Lawrence has been the guy ever since, when he won that national championship. Now, with Justin Fields, he's a little bit different in some ways, but he's a lot like Lawrence in some ways too. I think Fields is a little more mobile, but it wouldn't surprise me. So I'll give it my stamp of approval. I think it could happen. I think you got to expect the unexpected because a lot of the all these mock drafts, you're thinking like, oh, this guy's gonna go here, this guy's gonna. No, you really don't know that. So I don't know. Maybe Urban Meyer's like, well, he was an Ohio State guy, so might as well bring him with. But it wouldn't surprise me. So stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
You look at the overall makeup of what Jacksonville kind of needs, especially with Urban Meyer, former Ohio State head football coach, not too far removed from Justin Fields getting recruited there as well.
Yep.
Very interesting to see how that kind of turns out. Even though that, Urban Meyer has come out and said, Trevor Lawrence is potentially going to be our guy, but he's still not ruling out anything. I mean, we're still, a ways away from the draft, but for all we know, it could be happening before the blink of an eye. Running an impressive 40, that certainly helps. Let's see you do that with a full set of pads on and, 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and a safety coming at you looking to take your head off at the same time. That's why I've never really been a big fan of the 40 time. Yeah, it's really nice because you're running in shorts all by yourself and, you're doing it as best as you can as well. Let's make it a little bit harder. Let's see you run the 40 when, you're trying to run along the sideline. Here comes a strong middle linebacker that's willing to take you out before to get to the first down marker with full with full pads, trying to dive for the first down against football, because that is where you're really going to see how fast a guy is. Do I see this happening? I want to say yes, but at the same time, we've seen anything out of Ohio State quarterbacks. You don't always get. It's not very favorable as well. Haven't been so good as of late. Let's talk about the fact that one of them didn't even make it out as a quarterback. Remember Braxton Miller?
Yep.
Where the heck did he ever
Troy
end
Smith?
up? Exactly. They don't last very long in the NFL. Even Cardale Jones, he was playing for the XFL a year and a half ago before COVID shut everything down once again. I don't think he's number one. I think it's still going to be Trevor Lawrence in my mind, but you can't rule anything out. I think it's absurd.
I do too. But if you're Jacksonville, you got to go with Lawrence. You have to. You have to, but it wouldn't surprise me. And Jimbo even said too, I was going to mention this, and he jogged my memory that, Ohio State quarterbacks have not been good. They have not been good. So there's a lot happening, especially this as well. Matt brings up a interesting thing here too. After seeing what the 49ers gave up to move up in the draft, you have to make sure you're sold on Fields, which is or Wilson or whatever.
Right.
I know that people are like speculating Mac Jones to the 49ers, and I don't know how I even feel about that one, but
we'll see.
We'll see what happens. So. All right, last one, Voldy.
Yes, we finish off here, and a bit of a sour note, especially if you're a big fan of the Olympics and also Team USA. Well, unfortunately for the third consecutive Olympic tournament, Team USA men's soccer did not qualify for the Olympics as well. A true disgrace in the sense that the one sport that the world definitely is watching, and Team USA can't even pride themselves on even qualifying in the first place, as Coach Jason Kreis for Team USA said the squad is devastated, absolutely devastated after falling to Honduras this past week in their final chance to qualify for the Olympics as well, which is coming up here this summer in Tokyo. Is it absurd or approved that Team USA should be ashamed for not making the Tokyo Olympics for men's soccer?
Oh, yeah, they should be ashamed. And honestly, USA men's soccer has been a travesty in general. I don't know what they need to do to get this right, because I'm no expert on soccer or anything like that, but every time I look up anything in regards to the United States and soccer, for the men's side of things, the women's have been
good.
The women's, Alex Morgan and Rapinoe, Abby Wambach. It's
back of the day.
Honestly, I bet you anything, if you put the women's team out there, they'd probably be way more competitive than the men's. They'd run circles
around them.
Yep, they'd run circles around them. So, yeah, they should feel devastated, and they should be ashamed. They should be, because if you want to be competitive in this, and I understand there's a lot of talent within soccer and whatnot, Brazil, and Portugal, all those teams. It's one of those things where they need to find a person within the United States that's good and can get them to where they want to go. But they can't find that for some reason. Men's soccer for the US of A is trash. It's not good, and I don't know what they can do to fix it. They don't make it. Hey, that's on you guys. So that's one thing. It looks like we got a spam message here. Not going to put that on here. Anyway, that's a first on MinneZona Sports Live, our first spam message. But yeah,
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, I won't put it on. I don't know what the heck this is. But anyway, they should be ashamed. I think it's absurd that they can't even, beat who they lose to? The Honduras.
Honduras.
It's absurd. That's all I gotta say. So Voldy, what do you think?
Look, I don't know how much longer it's going to take for Alexei Lalas to come out of the broadcasting booth and take over the United States Soccer Federation, because the more he gets heated about it, the more I want to see him do something about it.
Do something.
He's got the big mouth. I want to see him back it up.
Yeah.
I think he is the guy that can turn around, not just on the playing side, not on the field, not being the field manager. I want to see him making the moves behind the scenes. Maybe he could do both. He can be the GM, he could be the owner, he can be the head of the Soccer Federation, overseeing everything from development of youth, soccer camps, development of the national team, and getting this team into the World Cup and contending in the World Cup along with the Olympics as well. It's getting more and more embarrassing because the world sport is soccer. And, well, Team USA, we pride ourselves on being great on everything as, Americans. Well, we can't even do anything in a sport that's universally praised and loved by basically every country in the world. It's embarrassing, and we just can't really do anything about it. Should they be ashamed? Absolutely. Especially the fact that more than likely all of these guys are probably going to go back to their club teams overseas, and whichever ones stay in the U.S. and lo and behold, I think the next World Cup, I think North America holds it. USA is going to be hosting quite a few matches with quite a few venues with, I think, Mexico and also some in Canada too. So, I mean, we got to be able to put something together to at least have a little bit of some pride in it. But overall, Team USA soccer, men's soccer, I should say, is just a pitiful sight nowadays.
It's sad, but honestly, it's something to where people are losing interest in what they do. It's sad. And you know what? There's a reason why they're just so bad, is because they lose to teams that they should beat. So that's how I look at it from an outside perspective. Anyway, that'll do it for Absurd or Approve, I believe, this week, right, Voldy? And
yes, sir.
We're getting back to something. We're getting back to Shield Shoutouts, and there's a lot of awesome Shield Shoutouts this week. So I think we should get going with some Shield Shoutouts. No.
Shield Shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who are you shouting out tonight?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the show, so there's quite a few old ones that are in here. We do have to wish the happiest of retirements to former New England Patriots safety Patrick Chung. In his two separate stints with the Patriots, three-time Super Bowl champion, decided to announce his retirement a couple Thursdays ago after opting out of the 2020 season. And, well, what a career it's been for Patrick Chung. Originally drafted by the Patriots, he ended up playing for the Eagles for a stint before they won the Super Bowl, and then he decided to come back and play for the Patriots. Hampered by injuries in the back half of his career, but quite one of the core players of the defensive backfield that's been pretty good for the three-time Super Bowl champion in Patrick Chung. And you know what? Maybe he's got a second career. There's a video that kind of floated around after he announced his retirement. He's not too bad on the ice skates. He skated with the Bruins a couple of times. So maybe the Bruins want to pick up maybe a hard-hitting right winger. I think Patrick Chung could lace him up for a couple of games at the end of the season. So happy retirement, and Shield shout-out to Patrick Chung, one of the greats for the Patriots in the defensive backfield. Do want to send congratulations, a big Shield shout-out to the Dakota State University women's basketball team. The Lady T's, on their record-breaking season, did make it to the Elite Eight of the NAIA National Tournament down in Sioux City, and unfortunately they fell a couple of weekends ago. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before. A fantastic year for the Lady T's, and a lot of players that I was able to, get to call a few games couple years back. It's great to see them progress from those freshman players that I saw now into juniors and seniors. Head coach David Moe, who's been a really good, coach that I'd like to talk to for any of the shows that I was doing, pregame interviews as well, and assistant coach Jamal Branco. Really, really nice guys. They were very personal, easy to talk to, great travel companions as well. So congratulations, Lady T's, this season as well. Many more great seasons ahead, I can feel, for this program as they continue to build off this season and into a winning program as well. Do got to send some special Shield shout-outs to some loyal followers. Mama and Papa Callahan for sending the nice card and some gifts this past week as well. Thank you. Much appreciated as well. And to all the people that have sent us stuff over the last week, not only myself and Sarah are very appreciative, Case Paul James is also very appreciative of the gifts as well. He doesn't know it right now, but he is a very loved little man as well.
Darn right.
Definitely have to say thank you and a big Shield shout out to Coach Paul Blanchard, Skip, for sending a gift and also imparting a little bit of some fatherly wisdom. Had a nice hour conversation on the phone with him a week ago, and get to catch up a little bit, talk a little baseball, talk a little Mustangs, talking about being a father as well. It was awesome to hear from him as well. I do appreciate the advice as always in that sense. Moving on here, a couple big Shield shout-outs to some old teams. The Byron Bears boys basketball team on winning the Section 1 3A championship this past Thursday and making it all the way to the state tournament as well. First time since 2013 that they made it to state, and the only other time that they've made it to state as well as the Byron boys basketball team. Unfortunately, took one on the chin against Minnehaha Academy today, but what a season it's been for the Byron Bears. And moving on from the Byron Bears basketball team and some Byron players for the Dodge County Wildcats winning their section title and making it to the Class A state tournament this week. The Dodge County Wildcats did defeat Hermantown last night, 7-1, I think that score was. So everybody happy about that, except for the fact that it was against JV players, but we'll take it. And also a big Shield shout out to the Northern Lakes Lightning boys hockey team winning their first ever section title in Section 5A, with it being only their first time ever in the section title game in the program's history, and they go 1-for-1. Also fell yesterday to Gentry Academy, 8-0 that score was. But great seasons overall, and for the Lightning as well, fantastic season it was to cover them. And also Dodge County moving on to the semifinals. Look forward to see what they got coming up here the other night as well. So that's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Oh, boy. Wow. That's a lot of Shield shoutouts, especially when you're gone for a week. It just all builds up. But you mentioned Hermantown and the JVs and all that, and obviously we all know how I feel about Hermantown. But I guess an update, my St. Thomas Academy cadets have fallen and lost to the Eden Prairie Eagles, which it's tough. It's tough.
Wah, wah. It's funny tournament, I tell you.
It's the thing is that Eden Prairie just gets all these kids. For some reason, they're able to just get all these athletes and everything like that. It's a highly populated place. They lose. I mean, SDA lost 4-1 to Eden Prairie, but it is what it is. It is what it is. You're up against the big boys, and it's you gotta play well. And I assume they didn't play well, and they were 0-for-3 on the power play, and that's kind of tells the story. Only 11 shots. Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. But congratulations to that. That's on a great season. I mean, the season's technically not over. They can win the consolation. So hey, there's that. So, but we'll see what happens.
It's a one and done tournament this year.
Well, and then especially, it kind of. Oh, it is. That's right. You're right. That is. Yep. It's one and done.
COVID's
I forgot
the thing,
to mention.
man.
Yeah, the COVID. Yeah. So congratulations, STA, on COVID. Gosh darn it. But anyway, moving on, and again, Easy A says, screw Hermingtown, obviously. Didn't spell it right. Per Easy A, it's okay. We'll forgive you. No! Like he's saying here, yeah, exactly. Not Eden Prairie Cake Eaters. That's Edina. But
Close enough.
Close enough. We'll give you that. But, state hockey tournament's going on, so make sure you guys check that out. I know I will be at some point as well. But anyway, we got to move on to a couple other things here. We have stickers, by the way. I don't know if people know about this, but we have stickers. And not only that, they're very cheap. There's some that are only $2. Voldy right there, the mini bumper stickers are $2. The big bumper stickers are $3.
Bang.
Bang, bang, bang. And then also we got window decals if you want them. We got this as well. Yeah, the window decals. These are only $2 as well. They're cheap, people. That's $3. But if you want stickers, let me know. Let us know. We've got them. We've got them. Just let us know. Put them on your iPad. Put them on your laptop. Put them anywhere you want. It's fantastic. So there's that. And then also we have shirts and shirts and sweatshirts as well. I believe the sweatshirt. I think we have enough sweatshirts to buy in bulk and send them off to people. I don't know. We'll have to ask Jimbo. But remember, sweatshirts $40, $5 shipping. Total of $45 in general. Shirts, $20, $5 shipping as well. So if you guys want shirts, sweatshirts, we'll get you hooked up. But there's still more with it. We thank National Fleet Graphics, Crown Rental, and Tyler Knutson for getting us those. Stickers, and they're fantastic. So we could use a couple more. Okay, we need a couple more people to buy sweatshirts. Yeah, there's sweatshirts available. If you want a sweatshirt, let's get it going here.
Message us.
We'll get you hooked up. Let us know. Let Jimbo know. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, too, make sure you check out W2 Performance, the podcast. They have new podcasts out. Launch 1.0 has been fantastic for Will Littell and Sean. They've done a great job, and also they got stickers. $2 for these bad boys. So make sure you talk to Will Littell if you want one of those as well. So shout out to W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds. Check out their podcast. And then also, make sure you check out Jack's Junkyard. Jack's Junkyard Season 2 is going on right now. Now, with apparel, I believe. He's got some pretty sweet choices with the apparel. So make sure you guys check out Jack's Junkyard. He's got apparel now. There's some pretty sick stuff there. So we got to
Dude, he's got t-shirts, he's got sweatshirts, he's got tank tops, he's got stickers, he's got coffee mugs, he's got face coverings, he's got tumblers, he's got everything. Not just Jack's Junkyard, Jack O'Keefe books as well. It's all awesome. We'll have to get the link posted on our our page as well. Let everybody know. He's got great amount of stuff as well. I mean, we'll definitely be buying here for sure. Do a little more cross-promotional material with that too.
Hey, we can get it done. We can get it done. Let's get it going. So, anyway, that is going to do it for MinneZona Sports Live for this week. Great job, Voldy, as always. Good to have you back after a week hiatus. Oh, here we go. Jack's got the link right here. If you guys want it, there it is. Get the apparel. He's got you set up. Check it out. It's pretty sweet.
Apparel.com. There it is.
Let's go. So,
I mean, that stimmy did hit a couple weeks ago, so might go a little crazy. I don't know.
It's true. You guys are the best. We know. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Jack. We really appreciate it. So, but anyway, as always, zoners and everyone else, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.